10 Most Dangerous Airplane Crash in the World. If you are a full-time traveler, either going in business travels or just touring the world, you must have had a thought about airplane crash. You may have also been told to be very careful or consider yourself always lucky to take off safely, travel in the sky and land safely without any problems. And while you may have gotten used to doing everything with regards to this topic safely, you might think that all your travels should start and end well. But this not the case for many people in the past. Some have lost their lives in the airport as they take off, other while in open air, and others as they make their arrivals in their intended or alternative destinations. And here we count down the 10 most dangerous airplane crash in the world that happened years ago. 1. The Tenerife airport crash, 583 people died. This was recorded as the most fatal crash ever in history. It happened about 4 decades ago, where 2 airplanes set to land in Las Palmas were instructed to land in Tenerife Airport, which went by the name Los Rodeos at the time. One plane was a KLM flight while the other was a Pan Am flight. And just when the Pan Am flight was getting ready for takeoff, the KLM plane also took off towards the same direction without getting the required takeoff clearance. It was very foggy and the communication between them was very poor, which fueled the occurrence of the crash. By the time the KLM pilot knew there was another airplane along the runway he was using, he tried to make leapfrog but was unsuccessful. This made the plane to crash the Pan Am flight with its belly and kill everyone in the KLM plane. However, 61 people were lucky enough to survive in the other plane, the Pan Am plane. The total number of people who died was 583. 2. Japan airplane crash, 520 people died. This was another messy scenario that only involved one plane from the Japan Airlines. It all started with a Boeing 747 plane receiving an ineffective repair a few years back. The badly repaired plane started working poorly and lost control while in air. Although the pilot was able to keep it in the air for more than 30 minutes, it made spirals in the air, then did a flip, making it crash on the Takamagahara Mountain, in the centermost part of Japan. A short while later, the plane's backside exploded, adding more injuries and death. Out of this crash, 520 people died. In fact, if you go there, you will find a shrine that was built in remembrance of the crash, which the Japan Airlines staff visits. Sadly, one of those who was part of the repair team of the crashed plane took his life because he felt he was responsible for the death of those who had boarded the plane. 3. The Saudi, Kazakhstan midair crash, 312 people died. This happened in midair when 2 aircrafts, one from Saudi Arabia and the other from Kazakhstan, crashed as they were landing in northern India, in a place called Charkhi Dadri. It is said that the pilots in the Ilyushin plane for Kazakhstan was directed to descend to a level of 15,000 feet but went down to 14,500 feet. At this level, the Saudi plane was also taking the descent, but in opposite direction, and they came to a terrible crash, having Saudi's wing ripped by the Kazakhstan plane's tail. This killed a total of 312 people. The controller of the air traffic had seen this coming, but he didn't have enough time to signal to any of them to go higher or much lower than the other. 4. The Turkish single airplane crash, 346 people died. This took place back on 3rd of March, 1974, when the airliner Douglas DC10 with the rear door for cargo on the left side of the plane was closed without locking the pins in together properly. This made the plane's backside blow up and destroy the cables that linked the elevators, both engines and rudders of the aircraft, to the deck. The plane slowly started going down with the nose pointing downwards. Seconds later, the pilots were unable to control it, making the falling speed go up. It crashed into Emirnonville Forest in the northern side of Paris. Owing its departure in Istanbul and flying off to London Heathrow, it never reached and claimed the lives of 346 travelers. 5. The Indian Airlines bomb blast, 329 people died. This involved a plane that had taken flight in Toronto, Canada, having a bomb planted and it blew up while on top of the Atlantic Ocean. The bomb is said to have been planted in the cargo section of the plane by terrorist Singh, who upheld Sikhism. He had booked the flight, showed up for the flight with a briefcase but never boarded. The aircraft was another Boeing 747, from India, which was set to land in the country's Sahar International. This was Flight 182, which ended up with as many deaths as 329. 6. The Saudi Arabia aircraft fire incident, 301 people died. This is the only accident known to be most fatal, and yet no crash happened. The sad event took place at Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where an aircraft, Flight 163, had already taken off from the main capital headed for Jeddah. After a few minutes, the plane came back to the same airport wishing to land immediately because fire had broken out where cargo is kept. Upon landing, the plane was to have a quick evacuation plan but delayed on the runway, spending 3 minutes, and another 23 minutes for the support team to get to it. By the time they got to the passengers, everyone was dead as too much smoke had filled the area and barely anyone could hold their breath for that long. This slight delay and wasting a few valuable minutes caused 301 people to lose their lives. 7. The Malaysian chute crash, 298 people died. This happened just recently, in 2014. Stemming from the political feud between some people who were trying to fight the government of Ukraine and the government itself. A Malaysian plane that had taken flight headed towards Kuala Lumpur almost flew by the border of Russia. A missile was sent to blow it up by what is said to have been the military force of Russia that was securing the place at the time. Even though there were aircrafts that were already avoiding the area due to peace instability, others had not gotten the information, and this one was one of them. It claimed the lives of 298 people when it went off. 8. The Iranian military blow-up, 290 people died. This also happened like the Malaysian crash, by missiles. It took place on July 1988, when there was war between Iraq and Iran. An Iranian plane was flying as its norm, on the same path it always used, when some American military force spotted and mistook it for a military plane called the F-14A Tomcat. So they took to the alleged threat and fired a missile in the air right onto the plane, which made it explode and killed 290 people. The force said that they had tried to contact the Iranian Air Control Service before taking the extreme measures but didn't receive any answer, so they chose to defend themselves by attacking before they were severely attacked. 9. The Iranian military plane crash, 275 people died. On the 19th February of 2003, an Iranian military plane was flying when strong winds and fog fought hard against it, making it come down onto the Sirab Mountains in the country of Iran. This plane was said to have carried 275 Air Force guys who died upon crashing. 10. The American DC-10 crash, 271 people died. Finally, in the United States, a plane departed from Chicago and had only gone a mile from the airport it took off from, when the engine on the left side wing separated itself from the wing and fell. This made the plane to lose control, and make continuous rolls before it fell down. It went up in flames, which people who were as far as more than 7 miles from it could see smoke and the furnace. This caused the death of 271 people, and happened on the 25th of May of 1979. The main cause is believed to have been a poor repair issue,